Hey folks, Mama B here today. We're finishing the last row. It's double crochet in each stitch. We've doubled up one or two of them, but we don't want to do it too much because we don't want too much work added on. So I've come to the end of the row. I've got one more stitch. I'm going to double crochet in that last stitch, and then I'm going to finish it off by coming into the top of that first chain with a slip stitch. Now we finished that row. See how nice that looks? So today's stitches are going to include 2 different rows in order to complete this set of stitches. So we're going to start after we've slip stitched our last row. This will represent your double crochet. We'll chain 5. Now 3 of those, the first 3, represent the height for when we do the double crochets. The top 2 will bend across like this to form part of your heart. And we'll go in with a double crochet as close to the slip stitch as you can, just because slip stitches are really hard to get into. Then we chain 2 and double crochet again into the same stitch. You can see that sort of forms a heart shape. Then we're going to chain 3, and on the bottom of your skirt where you have your row of double crochets, you're going to skip 6 of them. So we have 2, 4, 6, and go into the 7th with a double crochet. That is how you do the stitch. You will continue with 2 chains, a double crochet, 2 chains, and another double crochet all into that same stitch. It will look something like this. This part down here being the double crochet row that we just finished. Okay, that's pretty much how you do it, and we're going to go back to the crochet along. Now I want to have a little heart shape come across here, so I'm going to chain 2 more that will go across the top of the heart, and then I'm going to go down to that very closest stitch, because slip stitches are hard to go into, and we're going to do a double crochet. Then chain 2 and go back into that same stitch with another double crochet. You can see that kind of looks like a heart. And then we're going to chain 3. Then I'm going to skip 6. 2, 4, 6, and go into the 7th chain, or the 7th stitch, with a double crochet. See how that looks? Then now we're forming the heart again, so we'll do chain 2, a double crochet into the same stitch, chain 2, a double crochet into that same stitch again. Then we'll chain 3. And we're going to do a double crochet, skip 6, 2, 4, 6, go into the next stitch, and chain 2, double crochet into that same stitch, chain 2, double crochet into that same stitch, and chain 3, double crochet into this 7th stitch. So we're skipping 6, 2, 4, 6, going to that 7th stitch. Oh, that was the 6th, 7th stitch. There we go. And chain, double crochet. Chain 2, double crochet back into that same stitch. Chain 2 and double crochet again. That way you've got that heart shape going. You see how that works out? And you're going to do that all the way around again. Okay, So we'll see you at the end of this row, and it'll be a lot of fun. Enjoy. One thing I like to do is I like to go back after I've done a few stitches and just double check, make sure that these are actually looking like hearts. Because if you skip one, the next row is going to be a bit challenging for you. So just go back and check your work as you go and make sure that you're not doing something like this. I'll just show you a bad stitch. Right? You don't want the little V there. You want it to look like a heart. Does that make sense? Because if you skip and just leave one like that, it's going to be really hard, because we're going to go through it and use each one of these loops for your next stitch. So make sure that you go back on occasion and check out, because it's better to undo to here than it is to undo the entire row to have to fix that so you can get it right. Alright, so I hope that helps you, that little bit of advice. Double check your work as you go. Okay, so I'm coming to the end of my heart row. We're just going to call it a heart row because it makes these little hearts. And you can see here, maybe, that there are only 12 stitches left. And in order to follow the pattern I've told you, I need 14. So, like I said, no need to panic. We're just going to double crochet in the 6th stitch instead of the 7th. That will split it right in half. 1, 2 chains, another double crochet. Okay, that one was weird. Let's try that again. Another double crochet, chain 2, and double crochet again into that same stitch. And that finishes off that, and then I chain 3, and I go to the top of the heart, the 3rd stitch of that chain up, and I do a slip stitch to finish that off. So that finishes that off, and you can't even tell that I was short a stitch. In fact, it increases perfectly. Okay, so now we're finishing the last row with a slip stitch into the 3rd chain on your first little heart shape. You just slide that right off in the slip stitch. Then you'll go in to this chamber area and do a single crochet, and this starts your next row. Chain 3 and single crochet into the next section, that next little chamber area of your heart. This will add a little cap on your heart. So I call this the cap row, because it's like wearing a little baseball cap on top of that heart. Okay? Then we're going to chain 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Then another single crochet into the next chamber on the next heart. Chain 3 to make your cap, and do a single crochet again in the next chamber. Then continue on, chaining 6 all the rest of the way around. Now we're going to go back to the crochet along. Now to start the next row, I'm going to go right into the top of this first part of the heart. Right into the chamber. I'm not even looking for an individual stitch. I'm just going right into that big old hole. And I am going to do a single crochet and chain 3. Chain 3 and do a single crochet into the big old hole on the next one. And what you're doing is these little 3 chains will create a pocket, so it'll be easy for you to put your heart, the base of your heart, right into there. So now in the next row, when you do double crochet, you'll go into there, and then you'll chain 2 and double crochet into there again, and then chain 2 and double crochet into there a 3rd time, and that will form the heart on the next row. And you'll continue to repeat that in each one of these. So that's why we're doing the double, or the 3 chains here, and there's 6 in between. So now we've come to the end of this row. I got my last couple of stitches. I'm going to show you how to finish it off. And I'm going to come over here and I'm going to crochet a slip stitch into this as close as I can to that first stitch. So here we have, and then I'm going to do a single, actually I'm going to do another slip stitch. Now it looks like that's all part of the same knot or stitch, and we're into the loop. Now just like I told you before, chain 3, chain 2. So it's really a chain of 5, but I like to separate it so you know that the 2 goes across. And then we're going to do a single or a double crochet into that loop, just like I showed you before. Single crochet or double crochet into that loop, and then we're going to chain 3, and then you do a double crochet into that little chain of 3 loop that we made on the last row. Alright, I'm going to put that up against the black, or the green, so you can see that. This little loop that you've been making with the 3 chains, the chain of 3, that's where you want to go into. And you'll make your heart in that with the double crochet, chain 2, double crochet, chain 2, and double crochet. Just like that. And then you do the chain 3. So basically you're repeating this row where you're making the hearts, and you'll do that again. And you can do this as long as you want, as far down your skirt. You can finish it with this if you like to, but then you'll want to do an end. You'll want to do some kind of border. So we're going to end this video with you just repeating these 2 rows. You do the heart row, and then call that the cap. So we'll do the heart row, then the cap, then the heart row, then the cap, and you want to end with the cap so that you can have more flexibility to do other stitches. When you're doing this, you can do other stitches too, but and really I recommend that you experiment, learn how to come up with your own stitches and have fun with it. My theory is if it needs a stitch, put one. If it doesn't, don't. But this is the pattern. So we're going to do this, and we'll just repeat between those 2 rows for as long as you like, until your skirt is the length that you want it, or until you get bored like I do and just change stitches.